This is a presentation as part of pre-registration counseling for the 2025-2026 intake to the Bachelor of Software Engineering program at the Open University of Sri Lanka. There are going to be two presentations. This one is on academic counseling and the other one will be on the registration procedure. Before we proceed any further, you should ask yourself the question, is the Bachelor of Software Engineering program the right degree program for you? You have applied, and for the last 2 months, you have been on the temporary learning management system where you have had the chance to acquire a lot of information about the course. So now is the time for you to take a proper decision, an informed decision, right? So first of all, you must follow the Bachelor of Software Engineering only if you want to work in the software industry. If you want to work in some other part of the IT field, such as networking or maintenance or something like that, then there are other programs that might be more suitable. This program is aimed specifically at the software industry. Passing the selection test does not guarantee that you will be successful in the program. That was just a selection test. All it had was questions from the advanced level common general paper and English up to the level of the advanced level general English paper. So that is a very basic test and does not mean that you will be successful in this program. At the same time, just because you pass the test doesn't mean that you have to register. You can choose to do some other program instead. Once again, please go and play that 5-minute video clip we have from your senior student. This is the student who, like many of you, did not have any background in mathematics or programming when she came to the program. And she tells you that you can succeed, but you have to work very hard. Right? You have to work very hard. Even if you have some knowledge of mathematics and programming, you will still have to work very hard. So please don't register and then complain that the program is too difficult. Right? We are telling you now the program is difficult and it will be very difficult depending on your background. But you can succeed and we are trying to help you. Right? So the thing is not to complain, but to turn around and work hard. You have to consider your background. We have talked about it a lot. And you have answered the Know Your Learner Questionnaire. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. And your background in mathematics, IT and programming, English, and also whether you're employed or not are important to think about before you come to this program. Another thing to consider is your attitude. In the last 2 or 3 months, have you engaged with the learning management system? Have you asked questions related to your doubts, or have you waited for somebody else to ask a question? Have you started or finished the optional activities? If you did not know programming, have you started the Scratch course? Have you started all the other computer-related courses and activities that we have made available? Or are you waiting for someone to tell you what to do and to tell you to get started? Right? So if you are waiting for someone to tell you what to do every day, then this is not the program for you and the software industry is not the industry for you. Another thing we have tried to explain many times to you, and there is a presentation on course delivery and assessment, is that this program is delivered in the distance education mode. There are no lectures. Let me say that again. There are no lectures like there are at every other university. You have to engage in self-learning. Therefore, please do not register and then ask for physical lectures. That is not going to happen. If you are registering, you have registering with the knowledge that you are coming to a distance education program. If you do not like distance education, please do not register for this program. Finally, if you register and fail, of course, you are wasting your time and money. But in addition, you are wasting our time. The teacher's time is spent on all the students. If a student doesn't submit, the teacher will spend time sending emails and asking why you haven't submitted. So if you are going to come and just not do the program and fail and not submit, you are wasting our time. That time is valuable and can be spent teaching the students who are actually doing the course. Finally, you are not only wasting your money or your parents' money, you are wasting the country's money. You must never forget that every time you spend 1 rupee on your fees and do a course, that course costs the government of Sri Lanka another 2 to 3 rupees. Right? Your fees are much less than half the cost of running the university. Much less. So please think about all this and come to this program with the proper attitude, ready to work hard and not planning to complain when something difficult happens. So now we'll get to the presentation. First of all, to remind you that you are the first intake to the revised curriculum which is being launched in the coming academic year. We are going to talk about the selection of your courses at registration. At registration, you have to select courses related to the Start at OUSL program, which is the orientation program, the English for Academic Purposes program, and the first 2 semesters of this coming year. Right? There is a counseling form which is on the learning management system, and I will show you what the form looks like later on, that you have to fill. You do not need to take this to the center. There will be a copy for every registering student at the center, but you have to complete that form when you go to register. Before you complete the form, you must know what courses you want to take, and this presentation is about what are the courses that you can take and which ones you should take. Now, the orientation program Start at OUSL begins in March and runs in March and April and maybe a little bit in May. The English for Academic Purposes, unfortunately, begins only in January and July. Not only for software engineering, but for all the other students in the university. They have only 2 cycles. So now for you, the cycle will only begin in July 2026. That is independent of the software engineering program. They have a separate schedule, but we do not set our schedule to clash with their schedule. You have to think about your course load, and I'm going to talk quite a bit about whether you should plan to do this program in 4 years or 5 years. We are going to talk about the analysis of data. We have some idea about who are the students who succeed and who are the students who have difficulty in the program. Right? We will talk about some of those results. Then we will talk about the selection of courses for the first semester and the second semester. The first semester officially begins in May 2026 because there are senior students who will come to do the level 3 courses as well, and they are ready to start the courses only in May. But we will start some of the courses for the new students in March, 3 weeks after registration. We also have to select now at this registration. There is only one for every year. So you have to select the courses for semester 2, which will begin in September or October 2026. We will discuss what is the minimum course load that every new student has to take. There is such a thing. If you are coming to a program as a new student, you can't just register for the program and not take any courses. There is also the intermediate course loads that you can take, not the minimum and not the maximum. So this Start at OUSL orientation program now has only a single subject. All new students must register for Start at OUSL. Right? It has got a name. It's Empowerment for Independent Learning. It teaches you how to be a distance learner. It teaches you about the learning management system and how to study and so on. It has a course code. It has 0 credits, but it is compulsory. It begins in March and will be completed by the end of April or early May. Now you have to complete this course and pass the final examination before you complete the software engineering program. That means that if you haven't finished this EFIL and you go to the level 6 and complete all the other courses, you will still not get your degree certificate because of this incomplete. So please finish the course now. Don't wait for us to come behind you next year and say you did not complete EFIL. Take it seriously, complete all the modules and pass the examination that will be scheduled later. English for academic purposes is a compulsory program for all students at the university. It is not delivered by us, that is not by the Center for Information Technology Education Services. It is delivered by the Department of English Language Teaching for the whole university. So there are relevant to you in the software engineering program 2 separate subjects based on your prior qualifications. You must understand this very carefully. If you have a C or less for O-level English and S or less for A-level General English, you must begin with the elementary program. For the software engineering students, it is given the course code LTE34SE. It's called EAP Elementary, and then you must pass it to take the next course. If you have A or B for O-level English, or you have C or B for A-level General English, you should register directly for the intermediate course LTE34SI. Finally, if you have an A for A-level General English, or you have passed your 3 A-level subjects in the English medium, or there are other qualifications in the guidebook which you can look at, if you have those qualifications, you are exempted from the English for academic purposes program. That means you do not have to take them. Now, passing the elementary English course is a prerequisite to register for some level 4 courses, that is in the second year, right? If you do not pass the elementary course this year, you cannot take those subjects in the second year. Similarly, passing the intermediate course is a prerequisite for some subjects at levels 5 and 6. So you must make sure to complete your English requirement as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it will cause problems for you later. Now, the credits for the elementary course do not count towards the total credits in the software engineering program. In the next slide, I will show you the table which is in the guidebook about the total credits. The credits for the intermediate course, they do count towards the total credits. Now, if you look at the table, we are going to look at it in a minute. You see that 6 credits are required in the language category, which can have a code of E or L. And so if you pass this LTE34SI and you pass the compulsory course on communication skills, then you will get your 6 credits. 2 plus 4 is 6. This is the credit rating, the second digit. Now, if you get exempted, you'll be given 4 virtual credits in this category, so you will still be satisfying it. This is the table. You can look at it in the guidebook. We don't have to worry about the table now because you are in the first year in level 3. So there is no choice almost. You have to take all these courses either in the first year or in the first 2 years and finish them. But when you come to close to graduation, you have to check whether you are satisfying this table, right? So I only talked about the language requirement. which is in this category, you need 6 credits, right? It's a minimum of 6 is required. The maximum you can show is also 6. So the 2 courses that are coming in the first year itself, if you are doing intermediate, or if you are doing elementary, you do the intermediate next year, those will satisfy with the communication skills, the 6 credits. So like I said, this English program, both subjects, they will begin only in July 2026. There are 15 sessions. They are scheduled on Sunday mornings. So we don't schedule any other activity on Sunday mornings because of that. There'll be 2 continuous assessment tests where you have to come to the centers. So this program will be conducted at every center. All 28 centers, the program will be conducted. And you'll be doing it with students from other course programs as well. 2 continuous assessment tests, you have to come to the center and do it. And eligibility, which you should understand what that means now, you will get from the continuous assessment test. If you do well in the continuous assessment test, only then you can sit the final examination, which is scheduled probably November or December. That is at the end of this year, right? So that is a separate schedule. You have to be aware of that. Then another course that's important is MHZ2250 Elementary Mathematics for Computing, right? Now, when we started the Expanded Software Engineering program in 2022, and so many students came without the advanced level mathematics, they found the first mathematics course to be much too difficult. Many of them failed. And because of that now, over the last 3 years, we have introduced what we call a bridging mathematics course, right? It is an elementary course. It is at level 2. Level 2 is actually equal to the advanced levels. So it does not count to the BSE program. But if you have not passed advanced level combined mathematics or any other mathematics subject in the advanced levels, you have to register for MHZ2250. Right? That is compulsory. If you do not register for this course, you cannot register for the first mathematics course in the program, which is this one, right? It is a first semester course, but like I said, some activities may begin in March for the new students. Now, that is, we talked about the Start at OUSL course, the English courses, and if necessary, the elementary mathematics course. Now we are going to talk about the actual courses in the software engineering program that you should take that are at level 3. Please refer the guidebook. If you don't read the guidebook, then you will be ignorant about the program. You must read the guidebook. You must not get used to relying on what other people tell you. If you are a proper software engineering student, you must read your own references, right? The link is on the learning management system. You can download it as it's a PDF and keep it. It says, like I showed you on the table already, 125 credits. Now we have a rule, the maximum credits that you can register for in any one academic year is 38. If you look at the courses for the first year on pages 13 and 14, and I'm going to give the list in a minute, you will see that there are 10 compulsory courses which total 27 credits. There is one optional course which has 3 credits. If you take the elementary mathematics course, and remember, if you have passed advanced level mathematics, you do not have to take it, then that's 2 credits there. And if you take the English program, which most of you will be taking, another 4 credits. So the maximum courses credits that you can take in the first year is 36. That's it. So you will this year not have to worry about this limit, right? Now again, please remember, 1 credit is at least 50 hours of work. If you do take 36 credits in 2 semesters, each has 15 weeks, you will find that you have to work 60 hours a week. 60 hours a week, if you work 7 days a week, is 8.5 hours a day. And if you want to take 1 day a week for your recreation, for your family, for anything else, then 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Please understand, distance education is not a joke. Just because we don't have lectures does not mean that you have to spend the time. It's extremely important to understand that, right? Students look at the activities and say, oh, they are only for a few hours and 2 or 3 days a week, and they spend the rest of their time having fun, and they fail the program, right? Now, these are the maximum credits that you can take this year. You do not have to take the full course load. In fact, the Open University says that a new student can start with as little as 8 credits. 8 credits of the program. So that means 2250, the Mathematics Bridge elementary course and the English program do not count. But if you take 8 credits in the regular program, that's enough. You can start as an Open University student. You have full access to all the facilities, right? So now let's look at what are these courses in the first and second semester. First of all, your course load. So that is what the most important thing that I want to get the message to you in this presentation is planning your course load for this year. Officially, the software engineering program is a 4-year program, right? And if you look at the guidebook, it gives you the lists of courses that you have to take every year for 4 years. You can guidebook and you can see the level 3 courses here. They have given a list. There is one optional course here. And then you can look at the level 4 courses, which is all the courses that if you're going to do in 4 years, the second year you have to do all these courses and complete all these courses. Now look at these courses. This one requires that you must have at least got the eligibility in 3 other courses at level 3, right? And like that, these are prerequisites. Here you go, another one. These 2 courses, you have to get the eligibility and pass in 8 credits total before you do this course, right? So these prerequisites are there, and they are something that other universities don't usually have. And like that, we have the list for all 4 years, right? You don't have to worry about it. The point is there is a list. And if you want to finish in 4 years, every year you have to do the list given for that year. There are some optional courses, but still you have to take the number of credits. So 125 credits means every year you have to take something a little more than 30 credits. These prerequisites can have a strong impact on your progress. So if you fail 1 or 2 core courses, that means you don't get the eligibility in some of those courses at level 3, you cannot take all the subjects that are required in level 4. That means automatically your 4-year plan will end and it will become at least a 5-year plan, right? So what we are trying to say is a 4-year plan is possible, but it requires you to have a good background and you have to do a lot of work and be successful. So the main thing is for most of you do not have any programming experience, do not have the mathematics course from the advanced levels. Should you expect to complete the software engineering program in 4 years? That is a very important question. At the beginning of this presentation, I asked, do you want to come to the software engineering program at all? Now that you have decided to come to the program, you have to think about, should you expect to complete in 4 years? It's your decision. We are only guiding you. If you want to take a full course load, you can go ahead. But we are guiding you based on our experience the last 4 years now and the data we have. You can ask yourself, if a student from the advanced level commerce stream goes to do agriculture, should that student expect to complete that agriculture degree in 4 years? Think about it. Now let us look at your background. That is why the Know Your Learner Questionnaire is so important. And that is why I'm trying hard to make every single person who is coming to this program answer this questionnaire, because with that information, we can give you the proper support that you need and the proper advice. Your location, 40% approximately, are closest to the Colombo Regional Center. Overall, 62% are closest to a regional center, which means that more than 1/3 are actually closer to a study center, and 17 study centers. So that means that already you applicants who have passed the selection test are close to 26 centers in the country. That is the power of the Open University. If you look at how old you are, the year of the first advanced levels, for example, gives us a guess at your age. 27% did the most recent advanced levels. And you can see that 75% have done the first advanced levels in the last 3 years, 3 exams. So 25% are before that. And we have 6% who did the advanced level before 2015. That means more than 10 years ago. Now, these are students mostly who are working in the industry. Some of them are not working in the industry, but they want to come to this industry, but many of them are working in the industry. They have a lot of experience, and we want to get their experience to help other students learn. That is what we try to do. Now the medium, 57% for the single medium for the advanced levels, 35% Tamil, 8% English. 65% have not done or they have failed advanced level combined mathematics, right? And of the ones who have done the course, 21% have only got an S, right? So you can see 86% may be already weak in mathematics. That's not a problem. We are going to help you. But we need to understand how many are affected. A-level English, 30% have S or lower at advanced level English. That means they have to take elementary English, right? So that is, again, something important for us to know. 35% of you are working full-time or part-time, and the average working hours is 40 hours per week. That is a lot of hours per week. If you are doing a full course load, we said 60 hours per week. So 100 hours per week, already then you have hardly enough time to sleep, right? So you have no time for anything else then. Then in addition, I have asked about family time. 28% of you say that you spend more than 30 hours on your family and other social and commitments, perhaps your religious commitments, whatever it is. And the average is 21 hours. So when you think about working 60 hours a week, then you have to leave time for all these things as well. Finally, programming. 31% have no skill in any language. 26% have a skill in one language, but they are weak, right? So then that is 57% that are weak in programming. So we are trying to use this information and predict where the support is needed. This is still going on. The question is this: is the student background correlated with the student performance? That is what we are trying to answer. And of course, the initial results is they are definitely correlated. The question is how much that we have to work on. So what is the background information? Well, it is the information we are collecting from the Know Your Learner Questionnaire. Also, we know how you have engaged with optional activities. So we have evidence that people who didn't know programming, who did the Scratch course, they perform better, right? We still have to get the actual numbers on this, but the indication is that they perform better. We will look at your performance in 2250 and so on, and also your performance in English to see whether that correlated with your progress in the course, right? So basically our job is to analyze and relate the background data and the data while you're doing the program to your academic performance. Now the idea is, and this field is very big now in the world since about last 15 years, it's called learning analytics. And we want to identify the students who need the support before they fail, So we want to identify the students, say after 3 or 4 weeks in the semester, and say, look, you have a weak background, you are already missing deadlines. If you go on like this, you will probably fail the course. So how can we help you? And try to give help, right? There is no point doing helping students after they fail. The idea is to help them before they fail. That is what learner support means. Now, in general, some of you will know what kind of science is this kind of analysis called these days. It's called data science. If you have millions and millions of data points from 100,000 students, what kind of words would you use? Today it's called big data. And then if your computer program, now here we are doing the analysis, we are saying check this, check that, and so on. But nowadays there are computer programs, you just give the data and the computer program will find its own patterns. What is that called? That is called machine learning. And also in general, it is part of what we today call artificial intelligence. So now from our preliminary results related to mathematics and communication skills, we have seen that the MHZ2250 has helped a lot. Those who succeeded, not everybody succeeds in that course, but those who do all the activities and succeed in that course, most of them manage to pass in the next course as well, right? So this one is in the first semester, the first mathematics course is in the second semester. And if you put your time and effort into this course, you will be okay for the mathematics course. Please note that some people with A-level combined mathematics pass have not succeeded in 3459. So just because you have A-level combined mathematics doesn't mean that you are going to succeed in the other mathematics course, right? It's a different kind of mathematics related to software engineering. If you look at the communication skills course, last year it had a different course code, but last year we conducted in two groups. One was for those students registered for the elementary English course, and the other was for those who were registered for the intermediate course or those exempted from EAP. Just because you're exempted from EAP doesn't mean you have to still do the communication skills course. You will see that 60% of the first group doing the elementary English course, that means they have lower qualifications in English, right? C or less in O-level English and S or less in A-level English. Only 60% got the eligibility and were able to do the final exam, whereas of the other group, 77% got the eligibility. So that also tells you that even if you have some kind of reasonable English, you can still fail the communication skills course if you don't do it properly. Then we can talk about the full course load. We have some information from 2 years ago. There are 4 core courses in the first semester. These same courses are still there in your first semester also. Now we had 559 new students, 449 took all 4 of these courses, okay? But only 236, right? Just over half of those students obtained eligibility in all 4 courses, right? And these are important courses. So these students probably trying to do the full course load, half of them already missed the 4-year program because they are missing the eligibility, right? So this is what you have to think about, whether you want to do the full course load. And only 161 passed in that first year, right? They get another chance. You get 2 chances for the final exam. You should know that now. But this is what happened when to those students who tried to do the full course load, the success or the failure rate was very high. About half of them did not make it. So now we are still working on the analysis of exactly which ones passed and which ones failed. Was it mathematics that was important? Was it English that was important? How did it go with the regional center? And also background in the IT, how was that important? This is a difficult analysis to do. And but we are still working on it. So now we'll get to the courses. Having said now, I told you, be very careful about taking a full course load. Now, this is what the full course load will look like. First, of course, we discussed start at OUSL course, English course, unless you are exempted. And if you don't have the advanced level mathematics, you have to take the bridging mathematics course. Then in the first semester, you have 5 courses: compulsory, Information Systems and Data Management, Web Application Development, Software Engineering Concepts and Programming, Programming in Python, and the Communication Skills course, which will actually run over semesters 1 and 2, right? Because we want to give you plenty of time to do that course. It has many activities. In addition, in the first semester, you get this Bridging Mathematics course, Elementary Mathematics for Computing, but only if you have not passed A-level Combined Mathematics. So 6 courses maximum for the first semester. In the second semester, there are again 5 compulsory courses, and there's Web Technology, Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming, Communications and Computer Technology, Introduction to Mobile Application Development, and Mathematics for Computing 1, right? These are the compulsory, and we have one elective course, which you don't have to do. Even if you're on a 4-year program, you can do this in the second year. EEM3366, Introduction to Business Studies. Please register only if you have good skills in English, because this course requires a lot of reading and writing. Okay. Now, already we have had detailed presentations on every one of these courses online on Zoom over the last 2 days. Those recordings will be made available soon, but you should have been watching them as well. In addition, we have detailed information on these courses on our learning management system. I will show you that now. So if you look at the LMS, you have the Know Your Learner Questionnaire, and then you have a section called Pre-registration Counselling. Now this video, when it is completed, it will be, the link will be given here. These are the links for last year, but I will update them. Now this section is, first of all, available only to selected students. That's the group that everybody is so excited about on the learning management system. I have already added you if you have passed, and you have to complete this Know Your Learner Questionnaire, right? Otherwise, you can't see what is going to be here. Already on this one, we have the counseling guide and form, and I will talk about that when we talk about the registration process. In addition, we have forums here to ask questions about different aspects of registration. So after listening to this presentation, if you have some questions, you can come here. And then we have these 2 sections, again, only accessible if you have passed the test and if you have completed this questionnaire, right? So every subject here, there is a folder. This is called a folder on the learning management system. So you can open it. And we have the course synopsis, maybe some course material, the final examination, and so on, right? So these are all there for you to look at. Plenty of information given to you. And if you have any questions about the courses, you ask them here. And if you have any questions about selecting the course load, you can ask it here, right? Then we will be giving you answers. So now we have seen that we have given you a great deal of information about these courses also. If you are really interested in what you will learn, you can go and find that out before you register. Now, please note that when you compare it with the courses that your senior students have done, there are new course codes in the revised curriculum. Small changes have been made. So the X has become I. That is a general change. That doesn't mean the course has changed. It just means that we have now put all of these in the I category. Before some of them use the X category. Information Systems and Data Management has increased its credit rating. So more content has been put in. Communication Skills, it's roughly the same course. The course code has only changed. Web Technology has come down from level 4 to level 3. This Communication and Computer Technology, on the other hand, the credit rating has reduced a bit. And the Mathematics course also, there was one Mathematics course, it has been broken into 2, and the credit rating of this one is less. talk about the minimum course load. There are some students who have lots of other demands on their time, for example, if they're working, or if they want to look at what this course is about. You can, or you don't have enough finances at the moment, you can begin as a new student with only 8 credits. That is the minimum according to the university rules. Now, the 8 credits, you do not count courses like the MHZ2250 or the English for Academic Purposes program are not counted. So, for example, if you want to start with a minimum course load, we would recommend that you start with these 3 first semester courses, which actually total 9 credits, and not to take any courses for the second semester. Now, these are the most important courses in the first semester, dealing with software concepts and programming, web applications, and also databases. Now, if you can handle these courses and you have, for example, more money, you can increase the course load during the add drop by adding second semester courses. It's very important to understand this concept of add drop. We will spend a little more time later. But add drop is, there's only one add drop and it's 4 weeks into the first semester. Now, if you add a course in the first semester, you have missed, by the time your registration is complete, 5 weeks if you add a first semester course. But if you add a second semester course, you are not missing anything. So please, if you plan to add courses, only plan to add second semester courses. Now you can take first semester courses and you can drop them, as we will discuss, and that also is no problem to anybody. So what you want to do is, then if you want to take a lower course load, you start with these 3 courses. Once you do the courses for 4 weeks, you can decide whether you want to add some second semester courses. If you still want to stay with only 9 credits, maybe you can drop one of these courses and add one second semester course. That is up to you. You have the complete flexibility, right? So that's the minimum course load. Now, there is also the possibility of taking any number of credits between, we said, the maximum that you might take in the first year can only be 36. That is, if you take the bridging mathematics course and the English for Academic Purposes course, it's 36 credits. So between 36 and 8, you can take any number of credits. That is up to you. If you're taking an intermediate course load, for example, about 20 credits, then we would say focus on the compulsory courses. Focus on courses that are prerequisites for level 4. Take the first course in mathematics in the program only if you're confident in your mathematics skills, and take the communication skills course only if you're confident in your English skills. When you think about intermediate course loads, always think of the add drop in early June. You can always drop a first semester course with no impact to you, and you can add a second semester course with no impact to you. So basically, if you want to take an intermediate course load, again, what you should do is to take more credits in the first semester. Once you do these courses for 4 weeks, you can decide whether you can handle the load. If you can't, you can use the add drop. You drop first semester courses and you add second semester courses to the amount that you think you can handle. So, to summarize, in this presentation at the very beginning, I discussed the question whether you think this program, Software Engineering, Bachelor's in Software Engineering Honours, is the correct degree program for you. We looked at the factors that you must consider, and we wanted to remind you that even if you have the correct background, this is still going to be a difficult course. It is more difficult than most other courses in the university. So you must come to this program knowing that it is a difficult course, knowing that it is delivered through distance education, which is something new to you, and ready to take up the challenge and work hard and succeed without complaining. Now, once you decide to take the program, then we discussed how many courses you should register for in the first year. And we mentioned that the full course load that is recommended is part of a program to complete the whole software engineering program in 4 years. But we pointed out that because of the prerequisites that are there in the open university courses, which is different from other universities, if you are going to fail a few important subjects in any year, you will not be able to finish in 4 years. So perhaps you want to consider from the beginning that you will make this a 5-year program and take the time to overcome the difficulties in your background and learn the basic subjects properly. It's very important to get a good foundation. Now, for example, the analysis of the data from the previous 4 batches suggests that, especially if you have to follow elementary English, that means that you have only a simple pass in the advanced level general English, or a credit or a simple pass in O-level English. And if you take the communication skill course or the optional course Introduction to Business Studies, because those courses require a knowledge of English, you should be prepared to put in extra time. We have also shown that the bridging mathematics course does help those without A-level combined mathematics. But of course, again, you have to put in the effort in that course. But once you do that, and if you pass that course, you should be able to handle the proper mathematics course in the program. We have also seen that so many students are trying to take a full course load, but nearly half of them are not succeeding to become eligible in all 4 courses that they take in that first semester. So what we are saying, let me say again, consider your background and decide if you should register for a full course load or from the beginning plan for a 5-year program and register for a reduced load. Now, you have the option. If you have the finances, then you can start with a full course load next week at registration, and you can follow the first semester courses for 4 weeks. During those 4 weeks, you will have to meet so many deadlines. You will understand whether the material is difficult or easy. And at the add drop, you can then take this decision. Am I going to go for a 4-year plan or a 5-year plan? We will have counseling sessions online and through the LMS so that you can discuss with us and with each other what you should do at add drop. It's very important not to forget add drop, because if you do not drop the course there, first of all, you lose the fees that you have paid, and you are then stuck with doing the course. If you want to take minimum credits, these are the 3 courses we recommend in the first semester, and then you can adjust it at add drop by adding second semester courses or even dropping 1 or 2 of these courses. It's up to you. And we have given some guidelines for an intermediate course load, which could be anywhere between 9 credits and 36 credits in your first year.